Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Let me just share this link and get up the chat. Hopefully you're all having a good afternoon. Or day, morning, whatever what time it is for you guys. Oh. Yep, definitely streaming. Come on. YouTube has not, on my other computer, recognized that yet. One moment. Okay. Almost there. Right. It's because it's running out of battery, so it's very slow. Right. Let's go to live chat, and we are good to go. Okay. What have we got? So, unfortunately, we didn't make much progress in between the lost episode, which we cannot talk about because it's secret and it's lost to history, obviously. But in the last live stream, we tried to figure out exactly why the instance rendering is causing issues when we subtract one from the instance rendering list. Because we really did fix a big issue, but we are bumping into another issue, which is kind of tricky to solve. I have worked on this for, 1 hour and 41 minutes before this. So I have tried to work out what is the best approach here, and I'm trying to simplify this code down a little bit. So if I just run the things again, we have this issue where when I try and delete this this duck here that's flying off in the distance, if I just get rid of the collision geometry, you can see that it is a duck. It gets replaced by a rock. Everything gets out of sequence. Effectively, we replace a rock with a duck, and one of the positions of that duck becomes a rock, which is because things are out of sequence, right? So how? Oh, did we even successfully delete this? I don't think we did, actually. So it looks like things aren't being deleted. It's hard to figure this out because it's we have two variables that are kind of moving at the same time. It's like we subtract one from the total number of instances that we need to draw, but to make sure that when we draw, regular mode, which is, I'll just play it again. So, to make sure these two are being drawn fine, these need to be, we need to offset into the total index. So here we say, like, for example, we have 3 to draw here, for example, three ducks. But we also need, where do we start in that, for the index buffer? We need to start at the last position at where the previous, so let's just say we had 7 rocks. We draw the 7 rocks, and we have 3 ducks to draw. But we need to tell the renderer that the data that it's going to index over is 7 instances over, right? Which is kind of tricky because it's a bit confusing. If I subtract one from here because we have 1 less duck to render, and we subtract one from here as well, so then we have to start at 8, but then we subtract one from here, that becomes 2 minus 9, which becomes 7, which seems right, but you get a position where we end up, everything kind of downshifts where the yo, Wave. Oh, Wave. Nice to see you, dude. I believe it's the same Wave. Hope you're having a great day, my guy. As I'm sorry for I assume you're the guy who's making the D game engine. If not, I apologize. But it's good to see you. Yes, that is you. Okay, great to see you, my guy. Hopefully that's going well. It's very impressive with what you're doing. I'd love to join you in VC. I would. Yeah, we could do that at some point. But right now I'm just streaming, so that would be a bit it wouldn't gel well with other people watching. They would be not right. So yes, in the future, but not right now, unfortunately. Hopefully you can understand that. But yeah, maybe we could definitely VC at some different points. If not on Fridays, because I always VC with people on Fridays. So anyway, so we have 3 ducks. Here we subtract 1 because we have 1 less duck, right? We have 1 less thing here. We subtract 1 from here, and we subtract 1 from here, so this becomes 9. And so this is what we're going to be doing today. You've been doing networking stuff for scripting. Yes. It's been very impressive what you've been managed to pull off with your D engine, or whatever it's called. I actually don't remember off the top of my head what your engine is actually called. But yeah, you're the only D programmer I know, which is cool. Well, you're getting hung up on multiplying vectors by quaternions in GLSL. Okay. Pooper cow. Okay. Right. Not really a game engine. Cool. Thanks for filling me in. Quaternions by vectors in GLSL. Yeah, sometimes the GPU can throw you through a loop. When it comes to rotating things in a vector. But if you want to rotate a vector, just make sure that you... the easiest way to do that with quaternions is quaternion multiplied by a vector multiplied by the... what is it called? It's the conjugate of a quaternion. Which I'm just going to represent with a caret. That will equal a vector. But anyway, it's more so that I didn't get the maths. Oh, I see. Right, yeah. But anyway, you can, yeah. You already probably know that multiplication anyway. That conjugate times by quaternion times by a vector times by the conjugate quaternion equals the vector rotated by the orientation of the quaternion. But yeah, I'm struggling with simple maths at the moment. I'm struggling with subtraction. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through it while I yap, so I can think. So we have instances that we need to render. We have 3 instances that we need to render. We subtract 1 from that because we've deleted stuff. Now we have 2 instances to render. The starting point of the vector was starting point of these instances was originally this formula, which is the total number of instances. So this is the total number of instances. See, I have quaternion multiplication in D, in my maths D library, but for some reason the maths doesn't work the same in GLSL. It should work the same. I'm sure it isn't working the same, and I believe you on that one. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, keep track of the quaternions. It should be the same way. Right, yes. So indeed, it's the opposite. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. Just what comes to mind in my mind, if the GLSL code is not making any sense, just make sure that if you're not using scalar block layout when it comes to your shaders, this thing, this extension, the stuff that you're sending up to the GPU needs to be aligned by 16 bytes, so 4 floats. So you've got to add padding. Like I've added padding here because it's unstable without this, but this is not a regular uniform buffer object. No, a uniform that you would update with a uniform thing. I can't remember the OpenGL terminology, but yeah, just be aware of that, I guess. But I don't know much about OpenGL. I really don't know. That's not the problem. I already use uniform block layout for the UI shaders. Interesting. Okay. Well, you've got at least you're on that and you've ruled that out. I need to figure out this. So let's I will leave you to your problems. Well, your coding issues. It's GLSL and maths. I don't get the maths. Yes, I wish you the best on that. I wouldn't know why the quaternion rotation is not working. Outside of making sure that the data is consistent between the GLSL shader code. Sorry, when you pass up the code in a buffer, versus what you expect on a GPU, on a CPU. I wouldn't know how to fix it though. Oh, okay, so you're doing it like that. Okay, interesting. Position vector. Right. That's interesting. I would... Right. I don't know how to apply that. I think I've never used that formulation that you're using right there. Like I said, I just use the conjugate, multiply it by the vector, and then you just get a rotated vector without any of that. But it might be what you're doing there is just doing the same thing with one quaternion. I don't know. Anyway, so we have the total number of things and the size. So this gets subtracted by 1, so the size gets subtracted by 1, and which makes sense. And this gets subtracted by 1. Now, is the difference between these two equal to the same variable? I don't think it is. Because if we subtract by 1 here and we subtract by 1 there, it feels like to me we've gone too far. So if we do this, for example, do you multiply quaternions in GLSL? No. Well, I did not in this engine, but what I do, like I said, I would just do conjugate quaternion times by vector times by conjugate, but I would use a vec4, not a vec3, and I would use homogeneous coordinate system. I would keep everything in 4D, like I wouldn't have a 3D vector. I would just have the position. Vec4 would be vec4 would be x, y, z, and then 1 for a position coordinate, and 0 for a point. That's how I do it. I think that's the differences, because then you can do some like cool simplifications when it comes to the geometry if you have that kind of standard. But I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to do. Like what? Well, obviously you want to multiply a vector by a quaternion by a vector, but yeah, if you want to, which means it looks like you're trying to do rotation. If I'm doing rotation, I don't rotate vectors by quaternions because that's too slow. But it depends. Like I said, this depends on what you're doing. When I'm doing like rotating a model, for example, I pass up the rotation translation matrix and then multiply that by view projection. Like I've done that for ages. That's the way I've done that for models. But I'm not sure why you'd want to rotate a position coordinates or a vector, really, unless you're doing something like skinning. I don't know. To be honest, I'm doing it wrong right now since I should just be passing it in. Yes, that's what I would do, to be honest. Yeah, the thing is, if you have, I don't know how you're going to load in your models into your game, but you've got to be aware that the models themselves might be scaled by a different value. That's why I build up the model matrix before I pass it up, because it could be like a really small model or a really big model. So you don't actually know how big this point, like where this point is relative to model space, if you just have like an arbitrary point. I'm sure you're not sending an arbitrary point up or whatever, but you know, if it's all in one neat package, effectively, you've got the scale, rotation, and translation all in one place. Then yeah, you can go nuts then and just multiply it by view projection. It's just what I do at least, and it seems to work fine. So yeah, but you're smart enough. You can work out. You're smart enough to use D at least, and das lang for your awesome engine. So entity -1. What I'm thinking here is we end up like too big. We end up. I know it seems weird, but I kind of want to have this experiment where we only subtract 1 instead of 2. How would I do that? So this is the difference between these two, which gives me the offset of where I need to do this. Hello, Jackie Jan. How you doing, dude? Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're having a good day. So we are trying to subtract a size from the current thing. So if this shrinks by 1 and this shrinks by 1. Yeah, I think the difference is too small. So what I'm going to try and do is hack in a very... Okay, so we're going to do some like super hacky stuff right now. Yeah, this is just a hack. Will not be used. Very spaghetti code like. So add subtract by 1, I guess. False. What is the drawing commands? Yeah, I can show you that because we're working on these. This is the this, right? See this draw indexed? That's the draw command that we're trying to draw things with. And currently the way they're set up is they're not getting the correct data when I delete something from the buffer, right? We fixed the buffer. Now we need to fix the draw command. So I'm gonna add and I think what's happening here, just to talk you through the logic. So when I actually do this command, which I'll just delete everything out of here for a minute. Okay, got rid of the white space. Let me just type this in so I don't end up forgetting what it's. Because I'll end up forgetting what it's called. So what's ended up happening here is we subtract 1 from the total amount of instances that we need to draw. So we have a index count, which is how many indices this draw call needs to do. So an index, I think we talked about this yesterday, but you can think of an index as just how many corners something has. And it's possible that multiple triangle faces share the same corner of a model. And this just makes sure that we can reuse points. So that tells us how many corners there are in a model. And this tells us how many instances of that model exist. An instance in this case is just how many rocks or ducks or spaceships or whatever, right, that we're going to render. If it's the same model multiple times, we can say to the GPU, we have X amount of those. And what that does is it allows the GPU, allows us to copy and paste things around the scene while indexing through a buffer which tells us the position of those models, right? So right now we're in a position where when we delete something, we say there's one less instance to draw. But we also say the difference between these two is 1 minus 1. And if you know a bit of algebra, right, even if you don't understand what this means, if I do this, for example, the value that comes out of this, if you know a bit of algebra, if I have two variables and I subtract one from each side, that means that the entire result, so we can simplify the algebra, right? We can actually just say, if this is an equation, which it is, it's returning a value, right? Even if, like, literally, if we even don't say that comes out as x, if we subtract one from both sides, the value is going to be that, right? It's going to be minus 2 if we subtract one from two variables. Whatever x is just the difference between these two variables. The problem is with that, it's messing things up. And that's what happens when we delete something from our list of entities, right? So we delete how many of things exist, and we also reduce the size of the buffer. So we end up in the situation, I believe, as far as I can tell, that the drawing code is not going far enough into the buffer to draw the correct thing. So yeah, I think I've explained a little bit too much there, but you can just think of it as the draw command is doing a draw command thing. And most of all of Vulkan is trying to reduce how many draw calls we have. And this is a draw call, so a draw command. Draw call and draw commands are the same thing. I'm sure there's some nuance between a draw command and a draw call, but for all intents and purposes, for our sake, it's very... So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that variable add 1 just to see if I'm correct. That's my assumption. My assumption is that we need to add 1 back in because this equation here is minus 2. It needs to be minus 1 for the amount of things that we have on the scene, because we've only deleted one variable. So, and when we haven't deleted anything, we just need to not add 1 because that'll mess things up. And now when we delete 1, we just set this boolean, which is just a false or true flag, to true, and we'll just see how that handles our code. Now this is very prone to what is it called? This is very spaghetti codey, I have to admit, but this is just a test. So let's just see if my assumption is correct here. Right, so we shouldn't see any weirdness because I started off with false, so that should be this condition down here. Oh, covered it up, but okay. So if I press 0 and we delete the first element in the array, no, we still get the same issue, and we don't delete the one we care about, which is awkward. Okay. So that almost suggests that we almost have a situation where... I'm going to try that as well here. Hang on. Actually, let's get rid of this. Oh, I've got to turn this off a bit. This song is such a banger. Not much. Right, so I'm just going to comment out this draw command here. This happens when... Okay, it's a bit loud, that. There we go. So now we shouldn't see anything other than the ducks. And when I press delete... So we, for some reason, remove this, but do the ducks move? That's the question. Okay, so that's actually... I know it seems funny, but that's actually progress. We've deleted the wrong thing, as far as I can tell. We, for some reason, deleted... I'm not sure. If I just keep deleting, what ends up happening? So if I turn off the debug... Okay. Oh. What the heck? Why is this here? So this is the confusing part of this. It's very, very finicky in the sense that when I delete something from the scene, it seems to be random almost. Well, it's hard to debug because it's... I don't exactly know why things are happening. Yeah, so that at least makes sense. Yo, Kalia, how you doing, dude? Yeah, not bad. I'm doing... Thanks for asking. Yeah, I'm doing good. We have made progress from yesterday still on the same issue, unfortunately, from the lost, what I'm calling the lost episode, which we cannot talk about anymore because it's lost, lost to time. So I'm just investigating how to figure out this algebra. We've got some algebra here that I'm just not quite understanding because I don't understand these variables. Once we figured that out, we will hopefully have things that make sense for drawing. Same, man. Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple of things that we want to do. So let's turn this back down again. I'm just listening to them, one of my new favorite tracks. Okay. Right, what do we want to do here? So clearly this was not right. But as far as I can tell, when we delete one from the scene, is the difference the same? I've got to kind of just be a bit dumb today, because I feel like okay, so we have the total minus the instances. So we have index move to the 7th index. That's what it's telling us. The first instance is 7, which is correct. So when we take, so that was 10 minus 7. So then we subtract 1 from both. We would subtract a 9 minus 2 equals 7. So we start. Is that correct though? Do we need to start earlier? I think we do actually. It's the other way around. Not add 1, it's subtract 1. Because the distance between these two stays the same. I think that's the issue. Your brain might be tired. Maybe. Yes, I have been at this for a while. I've been working on this a little bit before the stream. And we deleted a... Weirdly... Okay, so I'm going to ignore... The only thing okay. The only thing I care about is the ducks, right? So actually, I'm going to turn off the debug geometry pretty much every single time. I have a question. How can you... I have a question. How can you develop an engine? Where do you research this kind of thing? I'm totally lost. It's a huge topic, unfortunately, game engines. They're not straightforward to learn. In my opinion, I would start where where most of your frame time will be eaten up. That's how I've done it anyway. So it's generally if I just get up like Notepad, for example, it's generally, this is a general rule of thumb that like 70 to 65% of the frame will be graphics. Not graphics. And then it'll be what 30 to 35% of the time your frame will be spent on physics / gameplay stuff, and then the rest. I should say there's like a fraction of a time, like a tiny amount of a time. So do 0.01 is equal to collecting inputs, right? I should put 1. So if I was to start from scratch, I would say stick with graphics for now. The rest takes less frame time, so I think you should spend roughly this amount of time learning these different things, in my opinion. Just because the frame is going to be dominated by graphics when it comes to how slow or fast your game will be. But, oh, sorry. Can I zoom in on this? There you go. Okay, so, yeah, good question. Thank you for letting me know. Yes, so that's generally what your... I didn't even know you zoom on this. That's good. So, generally, that's the rule of thumb. Like, most games spend more time, most of their thing on graphics and then other stuff on physics and gameplay. So yeah, I would start with Vulkan personally if I was starting from scratch. Also consider if you need Vulkan. It depends on what you want to make, right? So you've obviously got pretty decent at C++, and this is a Vulkan stream, so and our community is very hot on Vulkan. But I will have to say that Vulkan is harder than things like OpenGL. But you can do more things. It's going to be supported further in the future. These are the two reasons that I've gone with Vulkan. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do Vulkan. I just say, do you necessarily need to be on the bleeding edge of graphics? You know, OpenGL is still supported. There's nothing wrong with it. And just for the people who might say that, you know, I want to build a physics-heavy game with lots of stuff in the scene. If this is just so you're aware, if you have a lot of things in the scene with a lot of graphics, you also have to render those things, which unfortunately brings you back to the graphics. You have to be able to render them, which takes again just basically just as much time, even if you have a lot of physicsy gameplay stuff happening. So yeah, I would say Vulkan is a good place to start. I wouldn't start off trying to build a full game engine. My personal opinion, I would start with just a renderer. A renderer is part of a game engine. Can you build a renderer? Here's a challenge, right? Step 1. Render a triangle. Right, we all know this is the first step. Step 2. Render a model. Step 3. Render let's say render the same model two times, and then render 2 different models. That's my steps of building a renderer. These aren't trivial. They are hard to do. The difficulty of rendering a triangle isn't as hard as rendering a model. You're basically having to write almost all the code that you would need to render a model, to render one triangle. Like almost all the code. That's what I would do. That's the steps I would take. And then you would be in a better position to figure out what you want to actually do with your game engine, what it needs to do. And this is for 3D games, so this is only for 3D, right? I assume you mean 3D. 2D will be different. So, yeah. They would be my first 3 things that I would do. And then you can expand out into what you want to actually do. Cool. Hi, TT. Joke's on you. My game code is so inefficient it takes longer than a rendering. Wow. That's some next level gameplay code right there. But yeah, it's yeah. There is the asterisk of, yes, you can technically make the game, obviously that TT's making a joke, but you can technically make things take longer. But generally speaking, if it's optimized enough, this is kind of what you'll end up being. And funnily enough, this is the reverse order of how a game engine works. You collect inputs, then you do the physics, then you do the graphics, in that order. But yeah, I don't know if it's useful if you've written this down, but that's basically it. Anyway, so if you need help with Vulkan, you can always hop into the server and ask questions. There are people who are better than me at Vulkan in there who will probably help you out. I'll try and help out if I can. So yeah, let's dive back into instant rendering. So when we did this, I'm going to reactivate this just for a minute because I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what's supposed to be being deleted. So 0. No, the duck. That is instant 0, right? Whoops, 1. And we have that. What has been deleted? This has been deleted. Why has number 1 been deleted? That's the confusing part. Because I'm trying to delete instance 0, which I believe was the player. Yeah, we bring up the Discord. I'm not making that mistake again where I don't have the Discord open on my other computer and then I crash the stream. Yeah, Vulkan's sick. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Yeah, Vulkan is awesome. I do really like it. It's just, it is tricky, but it's a great API, really. It has its downsides, it has its upsides, but generally it's cross-platform. It's got all the nice features that are going to be used in the future. Vulkan 1.4 is great. It's better than 1.0. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Let's you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna simplify my maths considerably. So this is 7, and I'm just gonna manually figure out this myself. All right. Okay, so that should render everything fine. So we start at instance 7, we render 3 past that. And now we have a rock, we have ducks in the right place. Very cool. Cool, and when I delete 1 from the scene, I have this boolean, which is nice. So in my mind, that we just literally subtract 1. And let's see. So and I press 0 and we have a, so if I turn off the debug geometry, nope. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try a very simple +1. I know it seems mad, but we've got to, I'm testing out my algebra at the most fundamental level. Okay, so the duck is there still, and I'm also going to say, I'm going to do this myself, and this is going to be 3, right, so we shall continue from here. So everything's rendering, I subtract 1. So okay, so everything breaks, but what do we see in here? Interesting. Now, yeah, this is actually a really good idea. I'm glad I came up with this idea, because this is, there is no variables in charge, now we can just figure out what the answer is to what the equation should be, and based on that we can actually do something. We can actually get the correct answer by working out the algebra. So I assume maybe for every single instance that we need to subtract by 1, but we'll see. Though that is not only true for debugging, for debug web builds with the debugger open. I see. Is that for like, yeah, Vulkan? Is Vulkan very annoying when you do that kind of stuff? Okay, so no, that's not right. Right, +1 then, and -1. So yes. So this variable switches between these two. So I also realized I need to subtract 1 from here, because we have 1 less duck. So let's see. Okay, so that is almost correct. Because we are trying to delete this thing, but it just teleported a rock on it. So it did the opposite. So let's subtract 1. Delete. So, right, I'm going to stop the player from moving because it's really annoying. Considering we're trying to delete that guy and I can't even see if it's even deleted the duck, so... the player movement is a vector that we just keep updating based on... let's see. Where's that being updated and written to? Okay, so that's just the position. So, where's the player being updated? Okay, so we can reset the position, which is useful, but not that useful. So player dot. Yes. I want to see the update though. Ah, okay, so there. I'm going to get rid of that so it doesn't move. So it should stick around. We should see the players kind of stuck in one place. Okay, good. So now everything's not going to fly around. So when I press delete, right, so the player doesn't actually do anything, right? Okay, that's good to know. And we've deleted the wrong elements. We delete all sorts of things wrong. Okay, so that's fine. That's going to help us out. The player isn't moving now. Now, weirdly calculating a Dijkstra map while debugging web builds. Oh, I can imagine that. Dijkstra? You have to... Yeah, oof. Yeah, that's going to take a long time. Depending on how big the map is, obviously, but... Yeah, if you're not using something like A star, the... that's a lot harder. Yeah, a lot crunchier for the algorithms to go through. Well, my thoughts go out to you. Right. Don't think you can even transpile Vulkan to... Oh, transpile? Is that how you... transcompile? I don't know. Vulkan to WebGL. No idea. Yeah, it's not my field. I'm not a massive fan. I think it's a bit quiet, to be honest. I'm going to turn this up a bit. Yeah, I'm trying to get the balance right, so it's like nice in the background. I think that's good. Yeah, I'm not a web guy. Okay, so let's figure this out. So we subtract 1 from here, which makes sense, because we have one less instance to deal with. But we need to start... In my opinion, we start at the same place, right? We still have 7 rocks if we delete one of the ducks. And we don't delete the right one. Okay. Right, so we get rid of this. I think we're just back to square one when we do this. Why aren't you being deleted? Player. Ah, okay, I think the big giveaway is the fact that... element 0... Oh, I know why. Oh my goodness, I've realised that I've just confused myself considerably. Yeah, okay, I've been completely stupid. I did this before the live stream, and I've been assuming that we're back to normal, and we're not. We haven't been back to normal the whole time. Oh, that's very, very stupid. Okay, so... Right. The order at which these instances are created is very important. And I'm assuming... Yeah, I've just got it backwards. Alright. I need to get at least 144 with optimizations and build them so it's good enough. Wow. Well, good luck with that, dude. Honestly, seriously, it sounds like a good task. Alright, so let's fix this so it makes sense. I think we've got this backwards now. So we start at 7. We end at we have 3. No. We have 3 instances. We start at 7. And this is true when we're on the ducks. Isn't that right? It might be the other way around now, but let me think. Okay, so everything. I don't think this is correct, but at least it'll be the same instances. Alright, so let's see. Interesting. Three instances versus 7 and 3. I think it's the... Okay, so literally the opposite, right? So we have... we have all the ducks rendered where this is... Okay. Okay, so 7 instances, 7 instances. 3 and 3. So we should at least have the majority of them rendered. I want to see all of red. Okay, no. Ah, right, I understand. So if this is greater than 1, if this is equal to 1, I think is the logic that I'm trying to go with. This is quite spaghetti, but we'll work it out throughout. Okay, so that is making almost all the sense now. So we have the ducks in the right place. I just don't think I've done this part right. So we have 3 to draw and we have 7 to index into, and hopefully that works. Okay, so we have not quite. Right, okay, so it's the other way around. Oh no, it is... got us confused again. So if this is the rocks, then this needs to be 7, 0. That's the difference. So that's the rocks, then these are the instances of the ducks. Okay, so fingers crossed that's correct. Let's see, come on, come on, come on. No. Right. What is the value of... So that would be 0. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get rid of this then. And just see how much that renders. No, it's starting to... Ah, right. Okay, I get it. This will fix it. For real this time. For real this time. Yeah, we've started too late in the list of instances. Sorry, too early. And now we have all the rocks in the right place. Yay! And this means that we start at 3, go to 0. So the first lot. Yep. Okay. So we have the dock there. We have the rocks. I don't think there's any ducks in the rock place. Okay. Okay, we're back. So if I delete a duck, we do this. How does that break everything else? As far as I can tell, if we have 2 here, we have 2 here, right? Okay, so we delete the white. And so we delete the right one, but we still got this bug. Now, which one caused that bug to happen? So we deleted the right one. We deleted the player dock. And I'm also going to change something in the scene just to make my life a bit easier again. Yeah, so this needs to be 1 and 2. It's a very simple change. Okay, so what caused the... I'm going to put this... Start at instance 2 if there's 1 less instance in the scene. Let's go to 6. Is that how it works? Because what I might do is just like I have a minus variable that kind of... Okay, so they're at least moving together right now, which makes sense. Now I delete the white guy. No. And it's got worse, actually. So if I put this back to 7. Oh, that's true. We still have 7 rocks to draw. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to move that to 6. So as far as I can tell, this... Okay, cool. Oh no, it's there. Alright, so we need to figure out the differences between these two. So this should be none of the rocks rendering. And then one of the ducks disappearing. So it should be the white one. And... No, it's just teleported. Interesting. Why would that happen? Does this need to become 1? Start at index 1? Yes, I remember you, of course. 0. Yeah, we were talking earlier. I think that might be it. Yeah. Okay, so that solves that issue. So we've solved one issue. Fantastic. We solved the algebra anyway. So if I delete one duck, this is what it needs to look like. Now, I've got to figure out what the next bit of code needs to look like. Like, that's the equation it needs. That's the solution to the equation. So that's only true if I delete the first duck, I think. Okay, so we'll work with that. We'll try and generalize this out. See, your buffer thing disappeared after the duck. Yeah, what's happening at the moment? We're trying to delete a player, right? But what ends up happening is a rock appears in the wrong place, like that, right? So that's what we're trying to fix at the moment. So we're trying to not get the rocks to be drawn. At the moment, we are deleting the dock. It doesn't teleport down here like it used to. But it looks like if I delete... It's almost like we need to do the opposite. We need to increase this by 1. Oh. Right? So... Almost. Almost. We're almost there. And we decrease this by 1. So we've decreased this one, we've increased this by 1. Why'd you delete such a cute duck? Weird. But okay, yeah. Yes, we are... no, they're going to duck heaven. They'll come back. They'll come back. So, right. Nope, we still have a deleted rock. Interesting. And if I put this to 3, it just doesn't work, right? Oh, you can't put links in the chat. I think sometimes YouTube might censor you if you put a link in the chat. No. And these still are correct, right? We are close, but we just need to figure out the combination here. So let's do 7-3, right? 7-3, nothing changes. What the heck is that emoji? That's a crazy emoji. Alright, so... oh. Is that... oh. Is that it? Really? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. Okay. So that worked. Are you using SDFGI and meshlets? I don't know what SDFGI is. I might use meshlets in the future. I did use meshlets in another engine, which it's just a lot of work to get meshlets working. It is worth it though if you can get if you want to support the alternate path. There's a lot of like nuances to meshlets and if they're good or not. Older graphics cards, for example, don't support them. Yeah, I just don't understand why this is 1. So if we delete, I have a feeling, right, if we delete the 3rd duck, this will break. So the general, that's the solution to 1 part of the formula. So if you delete like duck 3, which would be the yellow, the one in the yellow sphere, right? I know this is kind of hard to follow, so yeah, feel free to ask questions. And sign distant field, I thought it was sign distant field, but I wasn't exactly sure. Global illumination basically is like lumen and meshlets. Right, okay, yeah, should I use sign distance field global illumination? I'm not sure. For a space game, that might not be appropriate, but what I'm going to try and use is image-based lighting for the skybox, at least. Which basically lights up the scene based on the skybox, which I think would be quite relevant for a space scene, considering there'll be less artificial lights, apart from like spacecrafts and stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to try this and delete. I have a feeling this code doesn't work. So we're deleting the yellow one, right? Yeah, we delete the wrong one. Oh, no, that's... I'm an idiot. I made a mistake there. That's, element 2. I was counting by, commanding with 1. Use physically based rendering and then... Yes, I am using physically based rendering. I've just turned it off for now because it's hard to see everything with the light, with like basically no lights. So physically based rendering plus image based lighting. Oh, really? That didn't cause any weirdness. I'm honestly a bit lost here. Why did... So when I delete a random rock, say rock 5, and I do the same code again, it works? Huh. So... Yeah, that deletes a rock, normally. Deletes the right rock as well. And we still have all the ducks, I think. Oh, no, we don't. Okay, so it... Okay, that's what I expected. I expected it not to work. Now I've just got to check the duck isn't inside any of these rocks. Oops. Let's go in here. Let me check these rocks. Yeah, ducks become sinister indeed. He's got his own asteroid flying around. Okay, so I don't think it is, which is good. So I was just making sure he hadn't moved. He's been deleted incorrectly. Okay, so one more check and I'll read the chat. So actually, I'll read it now. What features would you recommend for your game engine? I would suggest let the game that you want to make for a game engine dictate what you want in the game engine, right? So, for example, I don't really need to worry about a load of things like more advanced collision detection right now because everything is like relatively sphere shaped. Like it would be a waste of time until I actually absolutely need it. So let's delete the yellow one. And does it break this though? Yes, it does. Okay, that's what I expected. It also deletes this guy, which is interesting. So that's very important. I'm just going to check again the rocks. So I should be doing this all the way around. So yeah, what features? It depends on your game. And yeah, we got to be we got to be careful with our teleporting duck friend. I don't think it's in these now. Yeah, I'll check these two, and then I think that's it. Where's the other one? Ah, there it is. Shh. Right. Okay. Nope. Right. Yeah. Flipping heck, it's 20 to 4 already. Time flies when you're having fun, eh? And I haven't crashed the GPU yet, so you know we're all good, all around. Okay, so how do I get this code to line up with what I've got? Now my understanding is that if I haven't deleted a dock, so this is the total number of docks that exist, so I can keep them. So let's throw that back in, right? So models, so just copy and paste some code here. Scene models, so number, so this is the docks, total number. Where the 3 is. I dare you to pack this. Ooh. Right, be warned, there might be a bit of flashing here. That's not 3. Ah, right, okay, duh. Wrong. Right, so this needs to be the dock itself. This needs to be the starting point. Right, so this is it. Right, so this is 7 for the rocks, and this is the Okay, cool. Yeah, I know. Okay, so that's very good. When I subtract the duck, we need to increase this value. So I'm going to subtract 1 from here. And what are we going to do here? We're going to take... How do we get a 1 to appear here? Right, let's just see if this works. Right, so I'm going to delete all the different types of ducks. Right. -1 from here. I wish this was more interesting. I feel like this is like a really boring problem to solve. So we're gonna... Are we deleting the first dock? No, we're not. Let's delete the first dock. This only works for the first dock. But I want to see if it makes sense. Okay. So we shouldn't see any silliness happening. Right, no. None of the asteroids moved. These 2 remained in place. Cool. Now if I delete the last dock, the one in the yellow sphere. No, the duck just had 5k lunch. I see. Yes, unfortunately I'm going to be deleting a lot, so we're going to be deleting this guy. The yellow one. Okay, so the yellow one did get deleted. But I believe that also deletes this guy. Which is wrong. It's a little hard to figure out. And as far as I can tell, when we subtract by 1, this should become 2. Because there's only 2 ducks left. But it doesn't... Okay. Because the buffer is smaller. But we'll see. Right, okay, good. 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 Cool. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So this means this can go... okay, so we'll come back to that in a minute. In fact, we can throw this in here and here as a +1. +1. Hey, hey, Dutchy Code. Yeah, it's going good. I'm just trying to figure out the algebra-ish for this particular solution when it comes to index drawing. Unfortunately, I'm starting to feel like this is like a really boring live stream, but it's super necessary so we can actually instance draw correctly when we delete an element from the scene. I gotta go to an online class. Leave, bye bro, please if possible explain everything in a reply to my comment. Sure. Okay, so we are close to deleting an element. We just haven't figured out how this should work here. We need to add 1 for some reason, but this only works for deleting... I don't know how this works, to be honest. I have a sinking feeling if we delete 1, duck 1, element 1, this needs to be 0. So the either sides of the vector are different. Alright, so we're deleting the blue one now. Oh, interesting. So if I change this to a 1. So I'm doing a lot of like magic numbers, hacky code to try and isolate things down into very simple solutions. So the blue one should be deleted. Turned into a rock, interesting. Did it move? Huh. And if I delete the yellow one again, it works fine. Oh, sorry, the white one. I'm having fun with this live stream, by the way. I just know that going into a code, pressing 0, changing a variable and then doing it again might not be the most compelling TV you've ever seen. Interesting. Oh, hang on, I think I didn't change this to 1 again. Oh, I did. Okay, so let's bring this back. This is 2 and this is 3. That's what it was before. So this should be the same. Nope. Okay. So let's just take a step back because I've lost some understanding here. So this should work then. Yeah. So I'm also going to continuously move back to what we were before. Right, this. Because I want this to be deleting the right elements. Right, cool. We don't have any rocks spawning in. Right. Let's do this one step at a time. I moved too quickly. My bad. So this needs to be this. As far as I can tell, these need to be the same. I'm gonna leave this for a minute. Okay. None of the rocks got deleted. Good. Yes. This, I'm not sure is correct. So we'll throw this in, we'll see. So I'm deleting this duck down here in the bottom corner. That's why I can see. That's what I'm looking at. None of the rocks moved. The 2 ducks still exist. Right, okay. Right. That makes sense because these become 2. This stays 7. This stays... this. Yeah, we come out of this pretty quickly. Okay, so I'm going to go back to 2 for a minute and adjust this to 1 and see how it breaks. So when I delete the yellow, the blue one, we have a breakdown. Oh. So the rocks don't move, but I believe this gets deleted when it shouldn't. Right, okay. So we actually end up deleting 2 things there. And as far as I can tell, it's because... where's the code? Here it is. So let's play around with this. This can either be 3, 2, or 1. So when I say we start at instance 1 this time, at 0 even, and we're deleting the blue guy, we get a rock that turns up in front of us. Oh. No, that gets deleted. Interesting. Okay, so And does a rock get deleted? No. I don't understand the algebra. So 3 is everything working. Delete 1, and this deletes the first guy. What deletes the last one? Maybe we can figure it out from the last one. So if we delete the last, the duck in the yellow sphere, how can we get that to work with just numbers? So this is element 2, and I'm gonna go back, and now if I press 0, this shouldn't work for the yellow duck. This might even bring in a sphere. Sorry, a rock. Okay, so it deletes that. So let's try and get this to work for this. So I'm going to say this works only for deleting the first element. Alright, cool. Next, duplicate. Now we're going to try and get it work for the last element. So let's try 3 and 0. Like I said, there's only a couple of combinations that this could be, so this is going to be quite... So last... And then we can figure out the algebra that needs to be applied. So, doop. So 3 and 0... Right. Really? No. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's just moved, which is wrong. Okay, so that looks like it's right, but it's not. I'm going to say 1 and 3, maybe? I don't think that makes sense, but... Yeah, no. So we are trying to delete... Okay, so start at instance 1. Okay, this has to be smaller than that. I think we're just going to get a validation error. So 2 and 2 maybe? I don't know if that's going to make sense. I don't know if we're allowed to do equals. Nope. Still doesn't work. And does that... That also deletes that. Okay. Let's reduce this down to 1 and 0. So that deletes that and the blue one. So 2 and 0. I think I've already done this, but if 1 and 0 deletes everything, maybe 2 and 0 doesn't delete everything. Yep, okay. Again, I've got to check the rocks though. Oh, wait, maybe I should do this with rocks instead. Change the order. I'm going to do that after, I think. Because it's hard to see if it's accidentally teleported somewhere else. What I'm saying is, because I have to search the rocks for the duck. What I want to do is treat the rocks as, you know, you'll see. I think we need to check this. So this is an easy change. So instead of deleting ducks, we're going to delete rocks, but we're going to delete. It's going to be the other way around. So instead of loading a duck for these guys, we're going to load a rock. Oops. And this is going to be a duck. Right, so this makes sure that when we delete a rock, we can see if it's teleported. We can't see, this is to make sure things don't go inside. We also need to, why did that not do that properly? Alright, so what's the other thing I want to do? Is increase this to a bigger size, so this is 13. That'll do. Remove this. This is so I know which one's which. And we should see them bigger now. The debug geometry. Okay, cool. The only downside is now I don't understand why we're getting. So we should be getting rocks here, not. What is happening? These should be all docks now. These should be all rocks. Ah, my goodness. Oh, I know why. I know why. This is actually an easy fix. Yeah, these need to be reversed. This needs to be... Yeah, this is very important that I reverse these. Okay. So that should be it. Right, cool. So now when I delete the blue, the yellow one, which is the last one in the list. Okay, for real we don't. Yeah, okay, so that's fantastic. And I'm also going to increase the player's sphere size. Okay, so here's the algebra then. That works for the last element. This works for the first element. What works for the middle element then? I don't see any. So it's obviously subtract 1 if you delete something. If it's the first element, then you add 1 to this. Okay, so let's try and delete the blue rock. I think I might be getting it, but I want to delete the blue rock. Which is the first element, not the 0th element. This is, well, I should say the index, right? Right, so now we want the middle element worked out. So it starts off with 3, that's the base, before deleting. Now we need works for middle elements. And then we can probably figure it out from there. So, we have 2 and 1. Okay, so 2 in 0 and 2 1 don't work. Actually, it might. Hang on. So we're deleting the blue guy. And we should see a... No. So that didn't work. It just moved down here. So that's why I needed to change them to rocks so I could see that way faster. And a... Now I want to try a 2-2. I don't know. That just seems nuts to me, but we'll see. No, I didn't think so. We just moved a rock there and deleted one element that we shouldn't have deleted. Okay. I'm kind of... 1? Nah, that can't make sense. 3-1 maybe? So this is the trickiest thing. Nope. And it just moves again. We actually moved both of them. So that shouldn't do anything. Let's see what it does. Adding set model position. There you go. TE num. Interesting. Okay, so that just moved down there. So we're actually getting some... Oh, that's tricky. That's horrible. Oh, it's not good at all. Oh, hang on. I think that's because of this. Needs to be 2. Right? Right, okay, so I'm going to remove this. We're going to add in this and just make sure my change up here hasn't broken something. So this definitely removes the first element. Good. It didn't do something stupid, like, oh, it moved it. It moved it up here. I don't think it might not have ever worked, actually. Alright, so let's go back to the drawing board. And my engine is so multi-threaded. I could use float 3 or just have 3 arguments. For what? For your clients? Well, yeah, you need a multi-threaded engine because of your networking stuff. I think everyone does, but yeah. Like there's multiple instances of a scene. Yes, that makes sense. Essentially, when someone connects to you, they get their own process called remote. Right, so it's you do process stuff. So yeah, I don't have to worry about processes. I just have to worry about threads and maybe fibers. You also have your own privilege thread called local. Nice. So Wave is making a game engine and he's just telling me about it. That's what he's telling me. Right, so I'm going to have to concentrate on this for a minute. What is happening? Oh, changes to 3 again. This worked before. Why is it being silly? So we're trying to delete the player, Yeah, it just moves, unfortunately. Oh, this is so annoying. Why is it deleting that guy now? Okay, so we got a moving target, basically, where we delete some of the stuff from the instance data, and then the instance thing completely falls apart. Alright, so we just gotta... if I go to here... No. And... change this to 0. I don't know. I almost want to change it to 4. Alright. Nope. Just moves over there. Fantastic. Not really, but... I'm gonna just go wild. Oh, hang on. No, it just moves. Plus 1. So this goes to 3 still. Right. Let me read chat in a minute. Okay, so this goes to 0. Dun 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 dun. No. Yeah, 2 instances from 0. And this goes to 2. No. So I'm looking at this, right? So this has got a rock inside a sphere, which I don't want to ever see when we're debugging this. I just, I don't know. Is it +1? I don't know. No, we just get like a dock in the wrong place now. We get the opposite problem. Go away. The local receives an event for the function that remote wants to do, like create model. Makes sense. Very good. Sounds very multi-threaded. Well, very organized. And like you said, you avoid people being able to have higher privileges. Right, I'm just going to set this to 3 and just not do anything. Because this should be not deleting anything now. Right, okay, so we have 7 slots and do we have an empty sphere? Yeah, that's what I expected to happen, because this is what happens when you delete something from a buffer and don't update the instance count. Nice work, dude. Nice work, Wave. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some music up. This is nice, but I want to listen to like a specific track. Not that. Which one is it? Yeah, you're just gonna have to put up with this for a minute, just for moral support. Nice. You guys are all generating nice stuff by the sounds of things. Do 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 do. I never actually beat Final Fantasy V. So yeah, we're just gonna have to go back again, I think, by the looks of things, and just see what the difference is when we delete something. Because I think we had the ducks were actually hiding inside the rocks earlier, and I've now exposed myself to this particular error. So we press 0, that goes up there. Okay, so right. So what we need to do then is figure out. Oh, this is. Why is this 7? It should be 3, right? Yeah, I think that's correct. So we right, so that's what we're trying to avoid, this happening. So when we delete something, we subtract 1 from everything. That's the thing that makes sense to me. Oh no, we still have the same number of rocks. Never mind. I'll compile this. Yeah, I've never played a Final Fantasy. Interesting. Yeah, it's a really good. It's a nice story. It's pretty simple. But yeah, we're just gonna have to loop this song for a bit. Yeah, no, that just did the wrong thing, and I think it's literally because that happened. We still have 7 rocks to draw. We just have a different number here. As far as I can tell, that's. So we're deleting the. Are we deleting? Hang on. Let's just make sure we're deleting the first element again. Yes. Okay. So that's part of the problem here. All right. Deleted the first player, and we now have got a rock here instead. We actually ended up with just a rock down here, which is extra bad. Okay, so we've got to work this out, because otherwise it's GG's for deleting anything from the scene. Yeah, we've got the rock inside the bug, the duck inside the rock bug. Everyone hates this bug. Everyone has this bug. It's just so common. Every game engine has to solve this at some point. Even if you've never rendered a duck in your game engine before, you'll find it inside a rock. It's just super common. Right. Right. Let's think. What am I doing? How do you abstract? Yeah. TT's got it right there. Thank you, TT. Rot pos. That's what I use. I use rot as well. Rot. We've rotted here. Weirdly, that worked for some reason, but okay, let's. Boom, boom, boom. I'm afraid that. Let's just check these two. No duck. I think we just got UB. I think we just got undefined behavior. This seems to work some of the time. What I've done makes no sense. I've deleted literally an instance from the. We have now in the buffer 9 instances when we delete something. When you count this as 7 add 3, we have 10 instances. When I set this to 2, do I need to change this to... We don't have any more rocks, so... It's almost like it needs to go to 8 for some reason. Which makes even less sense. Because we have now 2 ducks, not 3 ducks, when we deleted a duck. Which is now a rock in this case. Yeah, I don't get it. I think we just got undefined behavior. Never abbreviate unless you feed. Yeah, that's a good point, Nat. Especially, yeah, because you've got a networked game engine. I don't know. I'm not. It's your game engine. Yeah, you can abbreviate everything to one letter. Right, let's do something stupid. I really think that these values aren't making any sense at all. So, all right, fair enough. That caused everything to blow up. But really, that should be 7 rocks and 2 docks. We offset into the docks by 2, not 3 this time. Now when we do that, we get this bug. Boop. Oh, what? Oh yeah, we delete. For some reason, something gets deleted. Does it teleport inside these fellas? Yeah, it does. Because that would make sense to me, right? We've deleted one thing from the instance renderer. We're trying to instance render based on the next set of things. Alright, so let's talk through this a bit. So let's go into Paint and draw out what we need. So we have what? Paintbrush. I'm just going to kind of overrun it so I can absolutely... I don't know how many this is, but we're going to have 3 of something and minus the difference is the other color. So 1, 2, 3 ducks, and then asteroid, 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 asteroid. So we delete the first asteroid. Sorry, delete the first dock. Let's go with I don't know, blue. Contrast things. And then we have 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Even if we did a delete, swap, and memory. Hang on. This... Actually, if we do a delete swap, we get this set up, don't we? We get... This gets deleted. And... No, that's not how it works, sorry. This becomes something else. Where's the fill bucket? Like this, but then this gets deleted, so... So this is 0, 1. So that's 2 instances. And this is... Then we start at 2, and we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that was 6 before, right? 1, 2... Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only difference was the how many we start at. So how do you guys feel about methods being Pascal case instead of camel case? I'm a big camel case guy. I prefer Pascal case, but the other dev did renderer API abstraction with camel case, even though the native API is Pascal case. I would say if you want to use Pascal case, make a if you have a team member anyway, just make a style guide. Because I will happily fit into anyone's style guide if they tell me what it is, assuming that I'm on their project, not mine. Assuming that you don't be too crazy about it and be like, well, you can't do this. Like, don't tell me where to put my semicolons, for example. But yeah, if you want to enforce Pascal case, just put it in style guides, and you know, it's not too difficult to change. But if you let things get out of hand, then there's going to be a lot of changing down the road. I think there's a linter that will help with that, but I wouldn't. I think it's just too much effort to do that, especially if your project's small enough. All right. Let's move on to no, I want like sad tracks, unfortunately. Yeah, let's go to no, it's the opposite of what I was talking about. Yeah, give me a minute. I think I have mostly action-packed stuff, to be honest. Let's go with this track. Night of Seclusion. Alright. Dum 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 dum. Let's go back to this, right? Nope. So we start at 2. Nope. The rock's turned there. Right, so I'm just going to make sure 100% that we're actually doing... I'm editing the right functions, so... We're definitely here, aren't we? And we're definitely here, aren't we? Got to do a sanity... Oops, sanity check. Yeah. That's what I assumed even. And... now if I look at this, this is what the buffer looks like. In this case we have 7 instead of 6, so that's a stand-in. Right, so we have 7, 2, right, we could put 3 in here and then like be like 1. Like we start at 1, but I feel like we're just going to render a duck instead of a rock. No, okay. Okay, and now we have 3. No. See that down there? That's what I'm checking every single time. Oh. Braces on new lines is diabolical. I like it. I think it makes everything easier to read. But I know it's like less concise. It's like more verbose. Two and two. I've already done this though. Because there is now 9 instances in this buffer. Why is this so complicated? There's not 6 rocks to draw, there's always 7 no matter what. That should be it. That literally, I don't understand any other instance draw of this. We've deleted the first element in the buffer. Now there's 9 of them. Why are we moving 1 rock when it should just be deleted? There's still 7 rocks. I don't get it. The only thing that works is 1 plus 3 and this. This literal gibberish. This is literal gibberish. This is literal. This is the. Now when I delete that, everything kind of works, but that's wrong because we have 9 instances in that buffer, and now we're drawing like there's 10. And I don't know what we're doing here. We're starting at 2 by saying there's 2 instances to draw. But we're starting at 1, so effectively there's 2. We're only drawing 1 thing. Because the first index that we draw from is... The first instance is 1. Like, why is this 1? Like, why does that work? I do not understand. Like, I feel like if I was to keep deleting things... Yeah, let's just keep... Although I can't at the moment because I've only got, like, fixed values. But, yeah, let's just prove it, right? So, I delete 1 thing... And then I just keep deleting stuff. Yeah, we just get literal gibberish on the screen. Yeah. Really? Oh yeah, of course. This that's only true for its own list. This is so convoluted. I feel like what I need to do is just get rid of index draw calls and just start with something completely different, like buffer device addresses. No, sorry, indirect draw calls. Because right now we're in a situation where, like, there's so much of the CPU is just clogging up everything. It's just maybe in the game I shouldn't ever delete anything from the scene anyway, and just deal with it. There you go. Well done, Wave. Yeah. So this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because we're still just rendering junk. You know, if I was to, I don't know what would re-trigger it to. I don't know why the validation layers aren't kicking in. I almost feel like I need to upgrade to a new Vulkan layer, because this just does not work. This shouldn't work, and it is working completely fine. I wonder if it works with 3 and 1. Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't work, but I'm just gonna start just putting in stupid values because I'm just generally convinced this does not make sense. This really doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because now there's 8. Yeah, like that's just, we have more rocks than there is. Yeah, I could even do this, right? I could even put like 10 in here. Let's make this 1. Let's make this 11, right? That's too many. We don't even have that many entities. You had Vulkan, and here you are. I'm breaking everything. Yeah, see, look, this doesn't make any sense. This instance draw call. I've said draw 11 rocks. There's only 10 buffer. There's only 10 slots this buffer could exist in. Yeah. So if let's put in 20, right? This is double the amount of things. So we've got a out of bounds read of like 20 right now when I press 0. Okay, so that makes more sense, right? That's gibberish. That's what happens when gibberish is rendered on the screen. But that isn't what's happening when the disparity between the two is when the disparity of the two is small enough, then you don't get this type of error. But when it's 11, that everything works air quotes normally. I heard Vulkan. Yes, this is Vulkan. Yes, this is all Vulkan rendered stuff. And welcome to the stream, by the way. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. This should be breaking in exactly the same way, but it isn't. And I think if I rendered this on someone else's GPU, like an AMD, this would completely nuke the screen. It's just, I can't get it to break in a way that makes sense. So the results I'm seeing on the screen I don't know how to debug this now. Effectively, that's what I'm saying. Unless I get extreme, unless I, put this like at 20, which doesn't make any sense because there's only 10 things on the screen. If there's Vulkan, I'll be there. Hell yeah, bro. Real-time corruptor. I want to see. I have an AMD. Fantastic. Yeah, you have an AMD. I have an NVIDIA. So effectively what we have here is we're trying to render. We have a buffer that reduces in size by 1. This is fine unless there's multiple things being rendered in that instance draw call. If that's the case, then all bets are off. Nothing seems to make sense. I feel like we've got underbehind behavior. The validation layers aren't picking up on it. For some reason, I'm just going to check that I haven't accidentally turned it off because I do not understand why. We should have a. Where is the synchronization? I might have to go into Linux, honestly, and just see because Linux, I have the static analyzer. What is it called? Stack analyzer. And that at least tells me if I've made a mistake reading and writing to memory on the GPU. Because if you try and dereference a pointer that the GPU doesn't have access to or doesn't control, with that address you get the error telling me that when you dereference this pointer or try to use it, this is what the stack analyzer will say. The address is way too high. It's like the address is too high, which suggests a out of bounds read or something like that, like a buffer overflow. For me, I am trying to figure out this, and I just don't get anything that makes sense. So I can't guarantee that if I get it right, like what it should be. It's just this instance draw call is just so hard to get right. The debug renderer doesn't have this problem because it only deals with this line of code here. This line of code doesn't exist. It never hits this. So it hits this line of code, right? It minuses by 1, so we reduce the instance count, and then everything kind of works. So the spheres disappear completely in sequence from, you know, depending on whatever I decided to delete. With our nice delete swap. This, though, just completely falls apart because we have 2 things in the array. And the instances don't match up with the buffer that we've deleted. So torture stream like this are the best. Yes, it's hot day. We're in coding hell. Just like the best of them. Well done, Wave, for getting your model rendered in your engine. Can you pass over some of your engineering ability to me, please? Yeah, I just need to borrow it. I'll give it back, I promise. Wink, wink. No, I'm doing a joke there. Yeah, your job in this stream is to just chill, have fun. No, that was a joke. But yeah, I am happy that you've got your stuff working for real. That was not a joke. Right. How do I go about fixing this in a way that I can actually debug? That is the question. So if we're getting stuff that's right, let's do the easiest thing that I can do. And excuse me, and how much memory do I have left to stick another Vulkan SDK in here? So what I'm gonna do is do the easy things, update my graphics drivers, and install a new Vulkan SDK. Oops, didn't like that. Or not, maybe. Okay. Okay, that was completely useless. Okay, cool. Actually, this will disconnect me from this live stream. I can't do that live. Okay. Luna. Let's just pray there's some validation stuff that makes sense. Luna G. Vulkan. I'll send a video of my code working and transfer my self-taught engineering skill. Thank you. That's perfect. So yeah, I was on the Discord and they managed to push out a new release. So let's just make sure that's actually true. Yes. Alright, so we're going to do a new release and just hope. So they're on what, Vulkan 41. Let's go to 50. 350. So apparently there's new validation stuff in this that might make us less insane. Oh geez, I need to update Vulkan. Yeah, it's honestly a good idea to keep doing that. The validation layers will slowly catch stuff that you're missing. So yeah, I can't update my graphics driver right now, but I will do that off stream. Because the OBS software will disconnect me from right, so I think I'm gonna have to delete some of the old ones though. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the Vulkan Discord server. I think news under news. Yeah, they've added another thing in since then, but Lunar G are in there posting frequent updates. It's pretty good. Thank you. So yeah, we should be. Let's change the song. Let's change the song while it's doing that. We'll do this. Ah, no. Let's go with Fisherman's Horizon. That's better. Let's go. Right. Fortunately, I've got a decent. So it's just wanted to change my path. Cool. Change the path. And we should be good. Yes. Run config. No, I don't need to do that. What I need to do is reboot Visual Studios, though. Never ever. If you've changed your path, always remember that Visual Studios picks up your environment when it's closed and opened. So, actually, I'm gonna regenerate my project with my CMake script. Just to make sure that the environment variable has changed. Yeah, okay, so it's picked up that, which is good. Yeah, so it's doing the assets, it's just making sure that they're all there. Wait, so it's a game engine, not just a game? Yes, it's a game engine. Feel free to show on stream. Okay. Sure. This is... I just had to mute this. So this is our friend. He's able to load a model. This is his game engine. Very nice. And we should have finished compiling. And I'm going to run. Hopefully we get a validation error of some kind. Yeah, because as I've updated my as I've updated the Vulkan SDK over time, we've got more and more validation layers. So let's just pray. No. Oh, hang on. That makes no sense. So we've still got the incorrect thing with no help from the new Vulkan SDK, which is unfortunate. Yeah, it's I'm coding a game engine. We have a lot of people who are coding their own game engines. We have people in here that are doing really advanced physics work. We have people who are doing things in a different language than me, like C or D. We have people in here that are doing ray tracing. I'm just trying to make a little space game with 3D, so I can actually publish something with my game engine. But yeah, that's why I'm getting stuck on this particular problem, because I've tried to limit the amount of technology that's in this game engine. Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to reevaluate how I'm going to debug this. Yeah, because that should make sense, but it doesn't. I'm going to try one more thing, so delete that. Yeah, I'm going to increase this to, go away, 8. I'm just kind of curious, right? So we have too many rocks now. But I'm kind of curious, if I delete a rock. Okay, so that, no, it just deletes that. Yeah, hang on. Let me think about this for a minute. We do a delete swap on this buffer. So maybe this is correct. Maybe it's not what I think I need to do. Maybe what I need to do is this. No. Hang on, let me think about this for a minute. This is still 3. But we start at 1. Oh, right, give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm back. Excuse me. Okay, so let me think. We are. Let's see. I have a feeling that that's actually the solution. Oh man, if that was it, that would have been awesome. But no. Has it also deleted that? No, it hasn't deleted that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I feel like this needs to go to 2 still. No. Give me a minute. This is. That's not right. I think I might be onto something. So if the last element in the array is deleted, then the only thing we care about is. No, it should be 3 then. If that's the case. Hello, Mado, how you doing? How do I invert the x-axis in my quaternion to a 4x matrix? The coordinate systems are so confusing when dealing with multiple APIs. My engine does Z up. There is no x-axis in a quaternion. That's true. But yeah, it's the coordinate. It's the local space that you need to be working with. It's not that you rotate it. It's like the linear space that your matrix is representing needs to have a different y component when it comes to its basis vectors. That's what you need to change, the basis vectors of the local space that you're in. Right. So if I've deleted something from the end, we still need 2 of these. We start at 2 and end at 6? That doesn't seem right, but... right. No. It's not even deleting stuff. Very annoying. If I put 0 in, what does that do? I'm kind of curious now. Is that indexed by 1 or 0? So it just deletes everything? Huh. Okay. So we'll do that for now. Hang on, that's actually quite useful. So what's the lowest numbers we can get away with here? When I rotate my pitch, yes. Okay, now say it in programming terms and not abstract math terms. Well, what's your coordinate system of the space that you're in? You need to know what that is first. Because if you had a 4x matrix, yeah, I wouldn't know what your basis vectors are. Yeah, so it's... Oh yeah, yeah. So we... If I do 2... I know we've done this so many times, but I'm trying to think of a way that... So we have this... We have this, right? This is so tricky. What actually is happening if we delete everything from the scene? All the... Okay, so we lose... That's what I was looking for. We lose a duck. We don't want to lose a duck. But there is 9 transforms. This is the thing I don't understand. There's 9 transforms, and there's now 9 things in the array that we've uploaded. Why is there now... Why are we not rendering it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spheres. And for some reason, excluding the rocks that we just deleted, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7? Wait, what? Oh, it's moved. Oh, it's moved to the wrong place. Oh, that makes so much more sense. Don't do it. Escape point. I'll try not to. Okay then, so what happens if we do 3 and 6, right? I'm saying we have 6 things less to... No. Not 3 and 6. Ugh, I got that wrong. But this will be interesting to see at least. Yeah. Okay, so I meant to do a 6 and 2. So we still have the same amount of... So again, we're just going to delete all the rocks again. No, it's just gone over there again. We've actually lost another dock as well. So like my basis vectors are just... Yep. I'm not sure what else to say. Except that Z is up. Oh, is this for your camera? Or for your UI? I thought it was your UI. Sorry, I'm. It's hard to help you, Wave. I'm just trying to concentrate on this as much as. That's why. You can't. Yeah, it depends on your camera, like how you're doing that. But again, it's all to do with your matrix multiplications. Got you. Well, good luck on your quaternions. So the distance between this and this are the same, I think. No, hang on, that's wrong. No, we deleted one. Oh, I do not understand this at all. Yeah, that's what it takes. Honestly, quaternions are a bit of a hassle, but the application of them in isn't too bad, but it's still kind of tricky. It's more what Wave is struggling with is just the idea of combining everything together, which is kind of tricky because you have to move from model space to world space to camera space, and if he's having network stuff, then it's like equally it's also harder. Because then he has to deal with model space that gets that. Yeah, it's all like matrix multiplication. Why are you changing the draw commands? I'm trying to change the draw commands because they can't. They are not handling the draw count properly, the instancing properly. Because I delete one thing from the end of the array. Yeah, and it's just not working no matter what I do. Like 7-2. Like that just puts the dock in the wrong place. I think I've already done this before. Alright, so... Yeah, it just put the dock there. Okay, so... It is 5 o'clock-ish. So I'll give you a quick link to my Discord server. If you're interested in joining, feel free to join. Just have to follow the rules and be chill. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. I will end it here pretty quickly. And yeah, appreciate anyone who tuned in and commented and stuff. I appreciate everyone. Despite the nothiness of this issue, it's always nice to do it on stream. But yeah, take care everyone and have a good rest of the day.